Hola clase, hoy vamos a hablar de los mandatos de nosotros. So we're going to be talking about our nosotros commands. So if you take a look, these are new for us this year. Commands in the nosotros form generally translate to let's. Let's eat, let's dance, let's go. And so that let's is kind of like saying we all. And so we have that in English, and so in Spanish we have the nosotros commands. Now, what you're going to see, how do we form them, is that you go with the yo, drop the o at opposite nosotros endings. So for AR verbs, we have amos, ER and IR verbs, we have amos. And if that looks familiar, sí es la forma de nosotros en el subjuntivo. So we know our subjunctive, we're masters at that, and so we just think that this is the nosotros form for our subjunctive. So if I wanted to say let's talk, we've got hablemos, let's eat, comamos, let's write, escribamos. Now, of course, just like in anything, we're going to have some stem changers, and these are the same stem changers that we had in the subjunctive. So we have to remember that if we're talking about our stem changers, these are not IR. This is just AR and ER. There's not going to be a stem change. So volver, which would be normally an O to UE in the indicative, in the subjunctive, we're not going to have that stem change. So we just have volvamos. Let's begin. We have our verb empezar. And again, no stem change, so we just have empecemos. Now, again, we'll get to that in just a minute. We've got our C there because empezar is a ZAR verb, as in that. Now, our IR stem changers, we always have a little something weird going on there. And remember, these are our ones that have the modified stem change. So our O to UE is going to go U. Our E to IE verbs are going to go I. And our E to I are going to stay I. So these are very, very important. And again, these are with our IR verbs only. So for example, dormir, we have dormamos. Mentir, to lie, mintamos, and pedir, pidamos. Okay, so we have that modified stem change in our IR verb stem changers. Now, here in numero tres, we have our car, gar, zar. Our car goes to que, gar, gay, zar, se. So we have let's play the piano, toquemos el piano. Let's pay the bill, paguemos la cuenta. And let's begin, empecemos. And we had that from up above because we've got our C in there. Now, we're really going to be looking at these with our commands, with our pronouns, and the same rules apply with nosotros as they did for the tú commands and the usted and ustedes commands. So when we have los mandatos afirmativos, our affirmative commands, I always say AAA, always attach to affirmative. Always attach to affirmative. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pronoun, whatever it might be, a direct object, an indirect object, and then we'll see in just a second even reflexives. You're going to take that, when you're adding, and you'll add it right to the end. So if I wanted to say, let's write it, and it being a letter, I would use the pronoun la. So I would write my command, escribamos, and then I put la right onto the end. Now, I need to count back 3. 1, 2, 3, and I add my accent. Now remember, if this is just when adding one pronoun, in a second we'll be able, if we are going to add more than one, remember our RID, reflexive, indirect, direct, you would have to count back to, 4 syllables on there, but we'll get to that in a second. I don't want to confuse you. Let's play it. So we have it being low, and so we have tocar, So we have toquémoslo, and I attach it right onto the end. I then count back 3, 1, 2, 3, and I add it there. Generally, you have to remember that your accent's going to go on the A of amos or the E of amos. That's where it always has to go, okay? So kind of think of that maybe that way. Always the accent is going to go on the A of amos and the E of amos. Now, we can also apply the same rule to our reflexive, but something weird is going to happen here. And it just comes down to how many syllables are coming out of your mouth and the sound of everything that it's making. So with reflexive verbs, highlight, star this, you will drop the S of the command before adding nos. So when you have your amos or your amos, you're going to drop that S. So let's take a look. So we've got, let's stand up. So that is levantarse. Okay, it is a reflexive verb. And any reflexive verb, when we're doing our command, takes whatever command it is. This is a nosotros command. So our pronoun for all of these is going to be nos when we're doing our reflexives. Okay? So if we're taking levantarse and just forming the command, we would have levantemos. And here, now, we want to add nos onto the end because affirmative we always attach. So, well, that says levantemos nos. So if there's a lot of sounds there. So what they do is we're going to drop this S right there, and then we'll attach it. So we get levantémonos. So now it all flows a little bit better than having that S there. So again, this is only with reflexive verbs. So then we still count back 3, 1, 2, 3, and we add our accent. So again, we add our accent when we have on the E of amos or the A of amos. So let's sit down. So we have sentarse. Okay? So it's a nosotros command, so our pronoun will be nos. The command is sentemos. We want to combine those for the affirmative commands. We drop our S, so we get sentémonos. We add our accent, and we add it there. Let's go to bed, acostarse. And so again, we have acostemos and then nos. We drop our S and we get acostémonos. We count back 3, add our accent. Okay? So our negative commands, I always think of nan, never attached to negative. So you're going to have a no, and then your pronoun, and then your command. So let's not work. No trabajemos. And here you never attach the pronouns. So here now we're going to have some pronouns. And so let's not stand up. No nos levantemos. Let's not play it. No lo toquemos. Okay. So nan, we never attach to negatives. Okay. So let's take a look at what you need to do, and I'll get you started here. So, with practicar el ciclismo, we want, this is a car verb, and so our command is going to be practiquemos el ciclismo. All of these on this sheet are they are just going to be forming the command and finishing off the sentence. No pronouns or anything like that. Okay? Now, on the back here, we need to use our pronouns. And all of them on this sheet are going to have a pronoun in there. I wanted to go over the first two to kind of get you started. Okay? So, because I first want to talk about 1 and 4. I did 1 for you, and then 4 will follow the same pattern. So it says, let's put them on. Them being the shoes. But to put on, you have ponerse, and you need to use a reflexive verb. And so again, this is going to be, we've got a lot of things going on here. First of all, we're going to have a reflexive verb, and then we're going to have a direct object. So we have to remember our rid. So the order of when you have multiple direct pronouns, you have to have them in this order. So in this case, let's put them on. You have a reflexive and a direct. So they need to go with reflexive first, then the direct. So first, let's work on making the command. So poner, we have pongamos, and then we have then our reflexive. So we have to drop our S. So we have pongámonos, and then shoes is zapatos, and so we need to add our los onto the end. Now, we've added 2 syllables here. So when we add 2, remember what I said earlier? It has to go on the A of amos or the A of amos. So we literally had to count back 4. So that's what I was talking about before. So when you add 2 pronouns onto the end, you count back 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4 is going to be the exact same thing, but it's a negative command. So you're going to be doing that, but your pronouns are still going to have to be in the rid formation. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on this one. But then the others, let's take a look at that. Let's drink it. So our verb is beber. So our command is bebamos. Milk is la leche. We add la onto the end, and so we have bebamos la. We count back 3, 1, 2, 3, and we add our accent. Okay, so go over those, and then we'll go over the answers. Buena suerte.